So after about 10 to 15 minutes of work, you can have enough of these to last you many years. Hi, my name is Rachel and welcome back to Auxhart Gardening. Today I'm showing you the super easy method of saving turnip seeds. So the first thing we need to talk about is what conditions your turnips need to even produce seeds. These are my turnip plants that have been going to seed for a while. And turnips, because they are a cold weather root vegetable, go to seed when it starts getting hot in the early spring and into summer. And that's when you'll start seeing little flowers like these ones, these yellow ones. And they will start out looking as sort of little broccoli groups, and then they expand out into these flowers. And these flowers get pollinated and make little pods, which eventually grow into bigger and bigger pods as the seeds develop inside of them. Alright, so I'd like to show you the seed pods at 3 different stages. This is young. This is when they're still small, and you can kind of see in the middle that there are maybe some little green seeds, but not a lot of stuff has fully formed. This is almost ready. You can see individual seeds in there, and some of them are starting to turn brown. And then this one is so done and dry it actually fell apart. These are perfectly done little turnip seeds that are ready to be stored. So here's the same 3 but actually on the plant. This one is looking too young to pull from. And then down here, this would look more like what the second one we looked inside of. And as you move farther down the plant, you will find some that are starting to turn yellow, and those are going to look a lot more like that third one that we saw on the inside. So as you're gathering seeds, you're going to want to gather the ones that are fully mature. If you're gathering them any sooner than fully mature, then you might have some seeds that dry out to look mostly okay, but they're never going to sprout because they didn't have time to become fully mature on the plant. So you're going to want to take the older seeds, and you'll know that they've kind of gotten to be ready to harvest, like I said, because the bottom of the pods will start turning brown, and eventually you'll start seeing that the plant will have some dried pods that are popping open already on it. And that's how you know that the seeds are mature, and you can cut the whole stalk off at that point and start the drying process. Now the ones at the very tip top of the stalk are never going to be as mature as the ones down at the bottom. And if you want to be like really efficient, I guess, in terms of getting all of the seeds that you possibly can from a plant, then you can go ahead and pull off the pods one at a time. But you'll find that turnips make so many seeds that it's not really that necessary to be that exact about making sure you extract every single seed from the plant. Something else that's really important to consider when you're thinking about saving seeds from any plant is to make sure that you have more than one plant for most things of plant going to seed for that genetic diversity. Alright, so this is what a full turnip that has gone to seed looks like. This is just one. You can see the branches, there's so many of them. And so I would recommend having about at least 4 or 5 of these go to seed in your garden for that good genetic diversity, and also just to make sure that they don't take over your entire space, because they are so much bigger than you are going to imagine. Now I pulled this whole one to show you guys, and it has actually finished with its flowering stage, and all of it has gone to seed. You can see there's no flowering tips on it anymore, but some of my other ones back there still have flowering tips on them in some places and mature seeds in other places. So I'm going to cut individual branches off of those ones to save for seed right now. And you might be wondering, is this turnip still edible now that this whole plant has gone to seed? And the answer is technically yes. However, it's not going to be very fun to eat. It's going to be what they call pithy, and that means that the inside is not going to be a nice texture. It's going to be kind of I don't know what a good word for it is other than pithy. It's going to be kind of like crumbly and dry, like a bad apple or something. Like it's edible. It's not going to hurt you. But like I said, it's not going to be very fun to eat. It's probably going to be a little bitter, and so I don't really recommend eating it unless you're starving, or I guess if you're just curious. Alright, so when it comes to going from this to seeds in your actual hand, what's the process? There's 2 big options for you. and they're both very similar. So the first option is just to take your branches as is, bundle them together if they are not already, and hang them up to dry somewhere where it's not going to be humid. They're not going to get rained on. They're not going to get like damp, like in a damp basement. They need to be up in somewhere with good circulation, somewhere where they're not going to mold. And once they are dry, then you'll easily be able to pop the seeds out of the pods and into whatever container you're going to save your seeds. And then the second way, if you have a lot like me, is you can take a paper bag or a plastic bag with a lot of holes in it and wrap that around all of your stems and then leave that to dry as is. Because what you will find happens is as these dry, you can kind of see some of these near the end that have already dried out, they will pop open on their own and the seeds will just fall right out into your bag, which is pretty easy and convenient. So if you have a lot of seeds that you need to do that way, you can go ahead and use some sort of bag to hang around it as it dries so that it catches all those seeds that pop out, and then maybe you'll be able to crinkle your fingers through them to get the rest to fall out. And then after that, there is the separation of the debris from the seeds. All right, so this is a stalk that I had previously dried, and I kind of want to show you guys what I mean in terms of the seeds just like falling out. As you break this, you can see I just kind of barely had to touch it in order for all of the seeds to pop right out of their casing. They're just popping right out. So you'll find that the majority of debris in your seeds looks like this, and this is a very different size than the seeds. So at that point it becomes very easy to separate out via a simple mesh sieve. For me, this plastic bucket that I got from harvesting strawberries once at one of those pick your own places, the holes are mostly too small for these to fit through, and so I can use this as sort of a separator. Once I've got the bottom full of seeds, I can kind of turn it sideways and shake it over a bag and separate the seeds out from the husks that way. So the last step in saving seeds in any case, in my opinion, is a germination test. I have a damp paper towel in here with a bunch of my seeds that I just saved, and I'm going to wait a few days and count how many of them germinate. And that is going to reassure me that my seeds are viable, so that if they are not, I have a chance to go maybe test again or buy some from the store if all of my seeds end up sterile for some reason. And this also lets me know what the germination rate is. So how many seeds I need to plant per living plant that I actually want to have in my garden. This is 5 days later. And as you can see, a lot of the seeds germinated. If you wanted to, you could actually count how many did and didn't germinate and get a percentage for your germination rate. I'm seeing that almost all of them sprouted, so I'm not gonna bother with that, but that's something that you could do. The rest of my seeds get stored in a cool, dry place until the next time that I need them. Alright guys, and that is all from me on this topic. If you have more questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. I'm going to be making seed saving content all summer for you. Until next time, I wish you happy gardening.